Hello, welcome to Chasing Green Arrows. We're going to preview game week 34 here. As you can see, everyone, I'm solo. There's no Gianni this week. He's off doing his own thing. Big fest, I hear, that is happening in the fantasy world, and he is running it. So while he's off running the fantasy world, I'm here to just keep this thing ticking over and relay to you like how we've been getting on, see how you guys have been getting on, and also try and give you some news that we can all digest and maybe take into this latest game week. I'll be honest, I think that Gianni might also be missing because, breaking news, I've had a better week than him. This does not happen, everyone. Like, anyone that's been here since day one knows that this season hasn't gone that well for me. But I've had a breakthrough. This week, I've got 86 points. I think Gianni got 72, so he didn't exactly have a bad week. But for once, some of my big decisions came off. Particularly Roberts. Roberts got me 16 points. Crazy. Salah captain. That was the one. If you took Gianni's advice last week against the obvious and got rid of Mo Salah, well, I did warn you on the back of his against the obvious not to do that. He got 38 points if you had him as captain. So I hope a few of you managed to stay on Mo Salah. Even to those of you that are with us, Desire FPL River, thanks for coming back, guys. We know this week that a lot of people are going to be missing because they are off at Fest. But thanks to everybody that continues to join us. Lots coming tonight. It's the usual stuff. We'll have Pep Roulette. We'll go through, obviously, the likely lineups. This week, we are looking at Man City, Man United, and Chelsea. We're against the obvious still. I'll give you one of those. And we'll go through mine and Gianni's teams too for the coming week. If you're here, you're probably a subscriber. If you're not, get subscribing. Give us a like right now. We want to keep this thing going. Unbelievable figures last week for us. Really, really good. So thanks to all your support, everyone. We're really starting to build now towards the end of the season. And next season, we're going to give this a proper push. And as you know, we're going to be the biggest FPL show out there. Habsy says, congratulations, Fulham coming back. Well, this is it, isn't it? What a week. Not only do I beat Gianni in a game week at FPL, but my team Fulham are in the Premier League. It was a very, very fun evening at Craven Cottage. Ended up on the pitch. Everyone invaded. The stewards were kind of okay with it, to be honest. They were like, yeah, we're probably better off just letting this happen rather than fighting it. So Fulham are back in the Premier League. It's good news for you lot as well, because it means that I'm going to have some advice on some players that other people might not be picking. So Harry Wilson, Mitrovic, Nico Williams, if he is actually joining Fulham for next season. There are a few guys that probably are going to be good FPL assets. Desire says, what's your prediction for Mitrovic's price next season? It's tough because I don't know how they're going to judge it on how few goals he scored last time around or how many he's just scored in the past season. I'm going to guess they'll put him about 6.5. I'd be surprised if he was much more than that, to be honest. So I'm guessing 6.5. And if he is 6.5, it'd be a big decision for me to make. I backed Mitro last time. He only didn't make it because of Scott Parker's big decision that he didn't fit into that team. So I don't think that Mitrovic is going to automatically flop. He won't. This is a different team now. Hi, Laura. She says she captained Kane too. Unhappy face. Yeah, sorry to hear that, Laura. Look, I've made enough bad decisions and recovered from them. You definitely can too. Pretty sure you're better at this game than me, Laura. But yeah, look, we're going to move on to fresh off the press in a minute. There's only one story in town, isn't there? It's Man United. Can they recover from this horrendous situation they find themselves in? Eric Ten Hag is coming in. Let's go to fresh off the press and talk about this situation. Yeah, so we all saw this coming. We all knew that Ten Hag was on his way. We're going to assess the top three players that I think he should target and probably will target, to be honest with you. So there you go. Pau Torres. We're going straight through the core of the team here, by the way. Pau Torres, currently at Villarreal, a centre-back, is a player that's long been on their radar. This is a guy you can expect United to go after in this transfer market. They will sign a new centre-back. It's a weird one because you'd have heard Ralph Rangnick talking about the fact that United might need 10 signings. 10 signings, that's almost unheard of, especially at that top end of the Premier League. But they're obviously going to sign a high number of players. Personally, I think it'd probably be more like 6, but a centre back is an absolute priority. So Pau Torres is one of them. Of course, they're going to need that DM position fixing too. It's so important. And so is the striker position. So striker, you're looking at Darwin Núñez. He's a top target they're looking at right now. And in midfield, even though everybody's talking about Declan Rice, talking about Tchouaméni, talking about Ruben Neves, make sure you have an eye on them signing Ibrahim Sangare, okay? Because the thing you have to remember here too is that, like, yes, Man United have had a long-term vision and they've got a scouting project and recruitment staff have been looking into signings, but Ten Hag has a vision too. And he's been in the Netherlands with Ajax and he's just played a cup final too in which Ajax lost. And Ibrahim Sangare for PSV has been one of the outstanding players in the Eredivisie this season. There's a lot of clubs looking at signing him. Man United will be involved in that tussle to sign him. And I think at the sort of money that you'd have to pay, I'm thinking probably £30 million, something like that, is where that will actually end up being, because it's Man United, because he's a player that's attracting so much interest. I'm told that that's what you'd be looking. That compared to the £150 million that West Ham are looking for Declan Rice is kind of a no-brainer. United, like, I know it's been talked about, like £200 million to go and sign 10 players. It doesn't happen. We always hear about these things. They do not happen. Look, FPL Focus has joined us. Hello, mate. Good to hear from you. Pau Torres quality absolutely is. Núñez looks a good player upgrade on Cavani. And that's the one I want to get to too. Cavani actually has recommended him to Man United as a guy that they should be going after. Cavani obviously is leaving. Darwin Núñez is a player of the next gen. He's a player that everybody is being offered right now in the Premier League. He's going to be leaving Benfica. And the big reason that clubs are starting to seriously consider him is that players from Portugal are coming into the Premier League and they're doing well. Bruno Fernandes settled in no problem at Man United. Luis Diaz has come into that Liverpool team, basically forced his way into a lineup that seemed like there was no room for anybody to come in. FPL River says Anthony linked as well. And absolutely, this is the thing. We ought to see how Ten Hag makes his mark on this United lineup. This team needs an overhaul. The players either buck up their ideas and prove that they can play in a certain style, a different style, but ultimately he'll also sign a couple of players that he knows will fit in with what he's doing. So whether that's Tadic, whether that's Anthony, whoever that might be, new signings are coming. So let's see what happened. John says, evening, Dean. Evening, mate. Is Jesus to Arsenal a possibility this summer? I wouldn't say it's a high possibility. I mean, Gabby Jesus gets linked all the time with a transfer. I'm not hearing that he's one of Arsenal's top targets. I've got to admit, they did look at signing Raheem Sterling and Riyad Mahrez last summer, though. So I wouldn't totally rule it out. Arsenal 100% in the market for a new striker. Let's see what happens. Desire, which club likely to land Núñez? Well, we'll see. I mean, West Ham are definitely interested too. Obviously, United there. A couple of others. I think Tottenham too. It's going to be dependent on a lot of issues here. I mean, what kind of money's on the table? What kind of football's on the table? Is it Europa League? Is it Champions League? Is it just Premier League? That's the kind of decision he's going to have to weigh up. So really tough one for Núñez, but a really nice one too, because he's pretty much going to have his choice of where he goes. Victor says, good day, Dean. Would United be signing a goalkeeper? Not a number one, no. They won't be signing a new number one. David De Gea will be United's goalkeeper next season as it stands. They might sign a new backup. Obviously, Henderson has been looking for a move for a little while. Wouldn't surprise me if that came through now. He can't wait around forever. But from what I hear, David De Gea will be one of those that manages to stay, and probably rightly so. You can't get rid of everybody, and De Gea hasn't done a lot wrong. Nuclear's asking what's on the menu today. It's the same as usual on a Friday, mate. We're just doing fresh off the press, and we're focusing on Man United right now because it was the big news that Ten Hag is coming in and United are actually going to have a permanent manager, which they should have done in the first place. Just running through some potential signings for them. And then we're going to kick on into Pep Roulette, run through mine and Gianni's teams, go into Against the Obvious, and then get some more questions from you guys. Chris says, loves the channel and keep it up. Thank you. FPL says, Focus says, Arteta is hard to read on transfers, I think. Yeah, but I also think he's got a clear vision of where he wants to take this team. And I think he's actually the vision that he had when he first came into the club. And obviously, some massive blips, Arsenal at times, and was under pressure Arsenal, the board managed to keep their focus. They decided like they had to stick with this guy, and they have. And all the big decisions that they made over Arteta and with that squad are starting to pay off now. They look like a side that have got a really good platform. I think they will be one of the best clubs in terms of improvement for next season. I think they'll have an even stronger push for the Champions League places too. So FPL River said, I'd sign for either. Heard the wages are pretty good. Yeah, got to admit, I love this job, but I'd probably take the wages that Nunes is going to have on the table from any of those teams. We're talking 200 grand, 300 grand, absolutely ludicrous stuff. Right, well, that's been good fun talking about Man United, who are in massive need of a result this weekend. They, of course, travel to Arsenal. We're going to move on to the lineups next and Pep Roulette and see what we can expect from some of the biggest teams in the Premier League this weekend. Yep, so we are still here. Nuclear Atom says the admin and Dean doing a great effort. Thank you, mate. Yeah, I'm just sat here chatting to myself in a room, and it's pretty weird. But thank you guys, and keep asking me questions, keep me going here because there is no Gianni, so I'm just going to bounce off you lot as we go along here. Get your questions in, and I'm going to keep coming back to the comments section to see what you lot are all up to and what you're saying. If you're just joining us, make sure you're liked and subscribed. Thanks again to everybody that's been supporting us here at Chasing Green Arrows. We're loving it. Hopefully you are too. Right, let's get into these teams because we're going to start with Man City, and tough one for them. They got Watford. It's not a tough game, but it's a tough team selection. Obviously, coming up, they've got Champions League to start to consider. They've got to start thinking about like injuries, how many minutes are in these players' legs, and that's why the lineup that's going across your screen is where I am at right now in my thinking of how Man City actually attack this game. Like, are you going to play De Bruyne in this game? I don't think you need to, because if you really need him, if you're really struggling to break Watford down, you can bring him off the bench and he'll do it. I just don't think they'll be starting him. Midfield, I've gone with Rodri, Gundogan and Bernardo Silva. Should be enough. Let's bear in mind, the last two times Man City have played Watford at home, 6-0 and 8-0. I'm not joking. Those were the two lineup. Those were the two score lines. The last two times Man City hosted Watford. Do you know what's changed since then? Man City are even better now than they were then. Watford might be worse. So we could be looking here at a Man City scoreline, which is 4, 5, 6, 7, or 8. I don't know which one of those it's going to be, but it will be one of those, I imagine. FPL River asking if Foden is rested. I personally think so, yeah. I think this is an unbelievable opportunity to give Grealish and Jesus a game. I think there's no need to play Foden. He's clearly such an important member of this team. It's a tough one. As you'll see later, I've got Foden in my lineup right now, and I'm going to leave him because as the course of the season wears on, he's still going to score important goals. He's still going to play the majority of minutes. I'm not sure he'll play this one. So, as I say, it doesn't matter. Yeah, so running through our team, Ederson in goal, Cancelo, Diaz, Laporte, Zinchenko, Rodri, Gundogan, Bernardo, Grealish, Jesus, and Sterling. FPL River says, so hard to predict. As long as Cancelo starts, I'm happy. Well, this is the thing, really, isn't it? I mean, do we care if Gundogan does or doesn't play? Not really. Really, the question is on those De Bruyne owners and worrying, I guess, about how many minutes he actually sees here. And if you're a De Bruyne owner and he doesn't start this game, you kind of don't want City to then go out and batter them because we won't be seeing him. We will not see De Bruyne in this game if City are 3-0 up at half time because there'll be no need. If it's 1-0 at half time, we might see a Kevin De Bruyne cameo where he comes on and opens up the door, unlocks it, and then they go on to score 4. Hello, Mohammed. Nice to have you in, mate. Just me this week. No Gianni, mate. So keep me going here. Keep me ticking along. Good to have you all with us, as I said earlier on. Victor was asking a question about Mahrez, but Nuclear is saying last week Silva played a false 9. What was that all about? Well, City are just alternating who basically plays the false 9. The good news is they're not going to have to do this next season because they're going to have an actual number 9 because Erling Haaland's going to be coming in. Dortmund currently sorting out their own business and making a new signing in that position. Adeyemi is going to be joining Borussia Dortmund. And that's good news for Man City because it makes it even more apparent that Haaland is on his way. So that is interesting. I think we move on from Man City now because I can't say much more about that team. The other two we're going to be looking at here are Chelsea and Man United. I've left Liverpool for this week. Think it's pretty. No, is it obvious? Maybe not. But either way, I've decided to go on to Man United and Chelsea. So that should be running along the bottom of your screen. Now, here it is, Man United. So obviously, a strange one for them. It's a double header for United this week. They've got 2 games to come. Usually, we'd all be like desperate to get United players into our team. They're playing Arsenal and Chelsea. Now, I'd be interested to see what you're saying in the comments about how bothered you are about having United players in your team for this double header. Arsenal away, Chelsea at home. Are they even going to take any points from those games? I'm not 100% sure. The lineup I've gone with: De Gea in goal, Wan-Bissaka, Maguire, Varane, Telles, McTominay and Matic as the 2 holders, Sancho, Bruno, Elanga ahead, Ronaldo up top. If his head's in the right space, obviously, as we go into this game, we don't know at this stage exactly, but he was back in training this week, so I would imagine Ronaldo probably will play. Yeah, and this is a really tough one for United. Yes, they've had the new manager appointed, but he's not there yet. Are these players now switching their game mode? Are they stepping things up? Or are they still just in this horrible hole where they just don't know where they're coming in? Fred, I don't know if he's going to be fit for this one, so I've left him out of this lineup. Like, if Fred's available, 100% get him in there. Not really an FPL player anyway, so I don't think there'll be too many people on here worried about whether Fred plays. But United had absolutely no fight as they were battered by Liverpool. McTominay, I think, will change that this game. I think that he has to be in there and has to just be rattling a few people, if nothing else. Matic can do that, doesn't always do it. Fred does do that a lot. So that's the thing. Mohammed says, can't trust any of them. No, I can't. United can't trust anyone in that lineup. And his FPL assets, I don't think we really can either. I've got De Gea as my goalkeeper at the moment, just because he's there. He's got a double game week, so fine, he can be there. Might make a load of saves, hopefully. But yeah, ultimately, Man United are just in a real worrying position right now. Don't really see any signs of them making the top 4 as it stands. They're so inconsistent. Mohammed says he's only had 1 United player throughout the season, and that was for only 1 game week. Victor says not touching United assets. Absolutely fair enough. I don't think we need to for the rest of this season, to be honest with you, because I don't know who we would get on. Yes, you can gamble on Ronaldo scoring another hat-trick. When they've come around, we haven't really seen them come in, so it's a bit of a gamble. Get on it if you like, but it's obviously an expensive gamble to take. James says hopefully De Gea can get more than 1 point over 2 games. Tell me about it, mate. Tell me about it. So disappointing with De Gea in terms of points return. A few times this season, actually, when I've thought, yeah, this could be all right, actually. I'm glad I've got him, because a lot of people in my mini league, at least, haven't got him. Hasn't happened for me. Hasn't happened at all. Nucleus says, by the way, Dean, high five, because we both captain Salah went against Gianni's against the obvious pick. I said it. I said, do not follow Gianni's advice on this. They're playing Man United. They're going to win 4-0. Salah got a massive haul last time around. He's going to do it again. This time around, Salah's got Everton. He's going to do it again. So make sure you're not ditching Salah this week either. Let's move on to my last likely lineup. We're going to look at the Chelsea team. Chelsea, obviously, with a double game week coming up too. So this is interesting. Obviously, we are having to weigh up at the moment who, what boat are they in? Who's getting opportunities to impress before the end of the season, and who does Tuchel just trust to play? Rudiger looks like he's injured, looks like he's not going to play that first match at least against West Ham. Then they've got that second one away against Man United. I've picked my team obviously based on the fact that they've got West Ham at home first. I think they win that game. I think they bounce back from a very disappointing defeat against Arsenal. Mohammed says Chelsea haven't put in a great performance versus United in a long time now. No, maybe not, but Man United haven't put in a good performance against anyone for a long time. So you could balance it out with that one, I think. Let me know who your Chelsea assets are as we run through this lineup. I'd say the ones that most people will have will be James, Havertz, and now possibly Werner. I think he's become quite interesting. Um, but yeah, it's the team kind of takes care of itself now that Rudiger's out too, as well as Chilwell. Kovacic missing as well for Chelsea this game week. Kovacic will be a big miss. Kovacic does set the tone for that midfield a lot of the time and adds something different to when Kante and Jorginho are in there. I don't really like the combination of Kante and Jorginho anymore, I've got to admit, but I still think they win both of these matches. Will James or Asby play at right wing back? It will be James that plays right wing back. Asby will play the right-sided centre back in this team. Do you think Mount will start both? I think there's a strong chance, yeah. Obviously, Chelsea do have a bit to think about right now in terms of balancing their fixture list, the schedule that's coming up. But Mason Mount is the other guy that a lot of people obviously have in FPL, and he's playing really, really well. I can't really see Tuchel leaving him out in two such massive games. Mohamed says he thinks Chalobah might get a start. Yeah, let me know who you think he would play in start instead of, mate. That'd be interesting. I mean, Chalobah has got starts this season at times when I've not expected him to, so that's fair. Nuclear's bringing in Werner for a -4 to captain him this week. Well, that's massive. That is really significant turnaround for Timo Werner to have somebody like Nuclear actually bring them in and then captaining them. Unbelievable, really, because Timo Werner looked like he was dead in the water at Chelsea. Looked like he'd be leaving in the summer. Really, really turned things around in the last 4 games, and now really looking like he has a future at Chelsea and a place in this team. Very interesting pick. Mahad says, captain Salah or Mount? Always captain Mo Salah. Don't gamble on that. I understand that Mount's got a double fixture here, but Mo Salah's playing against Everton. Liverpool are really, really good. Everton are rubbish. Like, it's a big game. It's a big derby. If Mo Salah doesn't score 1-2, to be honest, in that game, is a massive surprise to me. Like, Mo Salah, if you've got him in your side, make him captain. Like, this is not the week to be experimenting with that, in my eyes anyway. Chalobah for Christensen, says FPL River. Yeah, fair enough, Christensen. Not having the best time of things. Tuchel trying to protect him by blaming the pitch at Stamford Bridge for one mistake he made. If it was the pitch's fault, then surely Chalobah would make it too. We'll have to wait and see. But yeah, they are the likely lineups for this week. As I said again, thanks everybody who's joined us here in the chat today. No Gianni, he's off at Fest. He's having a whale of a time, I'm sure. Good news is, though, Gianni has sent us his team, and we will still be going through that in a bit. So you'll still be getting some proper FPL insider advice as well as my advice. Next up, we're going to be looking at those teams. So get ready to see them. And as I say, I just want to remind you all, in the last game week, I beat Gianni. This doesn't happen very often, but I beat him. So just maybe take some of my hints too as we run into other teams and look at how me and Gianni are lining up for game week 34. So I'm just seeing Desire saying, will Salah be starting there because of Champions League? Honestly, I think yes, he will. I'd be amazed if Salah didn't start with that in mind. It's a big gamble to take in that fixture. So I think Salah will start. They'll get that game one and then they will take him off. That's my personal opinion and how I understand the planning is going. Right, let's run through Gianni's team. Our king, the guy that we all look up to, the guy that has so much pressure on his shoulders every single week to deliver the perfect lineup so that we can all copy him. Or not in my case, because I always go a complete different direction. Oh yeah, Nuclear said, bring out the cocktails. Dean beat Gianni's free hit team. He was on a free hit. You're right. I got 86 points. Gianni got 72. Yeah, that's because I captained Mo Salah. That's why you do it. Gianni took a gamble, didn't he? Yeah, so yeah, here's Gianni's team. It's pretty much the same lineup. Yeah, still got a Spurs double in there. Brentford away, big game for Tottenham. Brentford have beaten West Ham at home this season, and Brentford have beaten Arsenal at home this season. So 2 teams that have been going for that top 4 spot, 2 teams in direct competition with Tottenham for that spot, have slipped up in this fixture and lost at Brentford. Tottenham now go there. If they avoid that, It's a massive, massive result for them because it means they've had one up on their rivals in a direct fixture. And at this point in the season, they really, really need it. So, yeah, look out for Kane and Kulusevski. They could really combine in this fixture to make the difference. Tiffany's here. She says, new to the pod, loving it. Thanks for taking on for the team today and bringing us much needed advice. No worries at all. Thank you. Lovely to have you with us. FPL Gaza says, evening, new subscriber. Lovely to see more of you coming in. Let's make sure you're all commenting, subscribing and liking the channel, please. As I say, Gianni is normally with me. It's not very often that either of us has ever had to sit here on our own and do this, but yeah, I'm giving it a good go. I think I'm just about filling in, thanks to you guys in that comment section. So thanks for everything that you're throwing in my way right now. Mohammed's saying, Brozier, testing my patience. Can't wait to get him out. Mate, you do not understand. Brozier has now been in my team for about 3 months, and it's 2 months too long. I wish I got rid of him a long time ago. I keep waiting for this guy to deliver, and he is just not doing it. I'm going to move on to my team now, and you will see that, annoyingly, he's still in there, but he's on the bench. As it stands, he's on the bench. Wood is in here because Gianni told me to bring him in last week for a double game week. Wood got me 4 points. Bit disappointed in that, Gianni, I've got to say. But look, ultimately, looking at this team right now, I've still got Rudiger in my lineup just in case he starts those games. If not, Roberts comes in. Roberts done me a real solid this game week. He scored for Burnley. I didn't expect it. They kept a clean sheet. He's probably the reason, actually, that I've got that advantage over Gianni in the last game week. I think he got 14 points or something. So that was super handy. FPL Gaza just subscribed and he's got a question straight in there. Have Salah, Havertz, and Mane who to captain? Mate, it's Salah. You have to. He's playing Everton at home. We were just talking about this a second. Maybe you weren't on the stream at that point. Mo Salah's playing for Liverpool, chasing down a league title. Everton are fighting for their lives and not doing a great job of it. Liverpool are going to win that game. And it could be 2-0. It could be 4 or 5-0, to be honest. I'll be amazed if Mo Salah does not score a brace in that game. I think it's a big, big gamble not to have him as your captain. Even though I do understand that some people do have double game weeks, it doesn't necessarily mean that pays off for you. JP says, who would you get for Brozier? Mateta or Nketiah with BB36 in mind? Yeah, bench boost 36 is a thing obviously a lot of people doing, me included. And Ketty has obviously given us all a new question to answer here. Does he keep his place in this Arsenal team for the next few games? Does Lacazette come back in? I mean, you presume Nketiah keeps it in the immediate future, but how does he get on again in this Man United fixture? It's tough to know, isn't it? Mohamed's saying, do you think he gets regular starts? I mean, he has to keep his place in the team based on that performance at Stamford Bridge. But beyond that, we really, really don't know. So if you've got Nketiah in your team right now, keep him. I wouldn't captain him. He doesn't have like enough pedigree to say that that's worthy. But obviously, United do have a very poor defence, so you never know. FPL Gaza, by the way, says cheers. He is his current captain. Good, mate. Stick to that. Nuclear says, aren't you going to captain Havertz? It's Chelsea having a double, not like United. Look, Havertz, maybe, but maybe he doesn't start both those games. I don't know for sure. And also, I still have more faith in Mo Salah delivering goals than I do Kai Havertz. So I'm just going my gut here. Like anytime, I've said it a million times on this feed, anytime I've turned my back on Mo Salah, I've regretted it. Every single time. So I just can't do it. I just can't do it. Absi is just throwing in a bit of a cheeky one here. He wants to know the current standings for Chasing Green Arrows. And I've got a feeling he already knows the standing for Chasing Green Arrows mini league because he is top of it. He is on 2,352 points, scored 116 points this week with a bench boost. Absi, yeah, you smashed that one, mate. Let me know how long you've been coming into this chat stream because Mohamed's going to have words with you. Mohamed was top of this for a little while and he's now down to 9th. I think Mohamed's going to have something to say here about this. He's not going to be happy. He's on 2291, so he's like 70 points behind at the moment. So it's a really good battle between you and some high scoring in that Chasing Green Arrows league, certainly higher than the other mini leagues that I'm in. You lot are very, very good at this game. Let's move on to Nuclear. He said he would have captained Salah again this week since the double. I can somewhat trust to get some points. That's why I'm taking the risk on Werner as captain. I mean, it's such a big risk. It's such a big risk. Let me just look at something while we're talking here on Timo Werner. Like, this is, I just want to see the extent to which this is a gamble. So the last 2 weeks, Timo Werner has delivered. He scored 8 points against Arsenal in a game that Chelsea lost, and he got 15 points in that game against Southampton when Chelsea won 6-0, and it was his breakthrough game, really. It's the game that's probably going to save his Chelsea career. So 8 and 15, yeah, great from Timo Werner. Before that, 2 points, 2 points, 2 points, 1 point, 0, 0, 1, 1, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0. There's a couple of twos in there. You get the point. Like, Timo Werner's been good for 2 games in FPL. Like, throw in a Champions League there as well. Very, very dangerous, I think, to captain Timo Werner. I can see why I've got him in your team. I've got him in my team. I've brought him in this week. He is my transfer. Dominic Calvert-Lewin is finally gone from my team. His injury has made sure of that. And I have got faith in Werner. I'm just not sure I have more faith in him than I have Salah on a home game against Everton. Eddie says, I did cash to Alonso. Was that a good move? Yeah, I think so, mate. I think so. I think that you're in a better place there, a better mindset with Alonso. He's going to play. Chelsea have 2 winnable fixtures, and he should be involved in chances created. So I think that anyone bringing in Alonso is pretty safe. Absolutely joined the league 6 weeks ago. Okay. I think that's okay. Mohammed will tell me if that's okay. Fair play though, mate. You're obviously having a storming season. I imagine you're probably top of every league you're in, so well played. Steve Sedman says, watch your back, Absy. I like this. You two are there's a bit of niggle coming in here. Steve Sedman also, I did notice, was one of the names flying high at the top of the Chasing Green Arrows League. So it's good to see a bit of competitiveness here. He is, in fact, second. He's 7 points behind you, Absy. 7 points on Steve Sedman. So keep an eye on each other's teams this week. Tiffany says she's got Salah, Kane, KDB, Havertz, and Mount. Wow. And still sticking with Salah captain this week, even if he comes off the bench, because we all know what he's capable of. What a team you must have, Tiffany. I'm interested to see what your rank is at the moment, because that is unbelievable, to be honest. Yeah, so that's where we're at right now. That's mine and Gianni's teams. Just want to take a few questions now. We've got another 10 minutes before I'm exhausted and have to get off this chat because I've not stopped talking so far for 35 minutes. I'm happy. I'm having a good time. This is a great place to be when you lot are asking me so many questions and having a bit of banter between yourselves. Nuclear Atoms says it's a new system. Dean Tuchel says he is improving. I'm seeing he is cutting inside and finishing his chances more often and taking more shots than Havertz and Mount. No, you're 100% right there. I do agree. He does have a better role now. He feels more confident in it. There's no doubt about that. And he's definitely getting more shots off of a higher quality as well. But, it's still only 2 games. And it was Southampton, who are poor at the moment anyway. And it was against, an Arsenal team that are flaky. Arsenal have conceded some poor goals in their last 4 matches. They conceded all 4 of their last Premier League matches, and some of the manner of them was not great. So I take your point, but I'm still worried. I hope it pays off for you. I really do. I really do. It's worth a gamble, and I like people that take a chance on things like that. FPL Gaz is asking what the league code is. You can see it at the bottom of the screen, mate. It's literally going to come across any second now. There you go. So it's right there. XKKULV. There you go. XKKULV. Yeah, keep the questions coming in. As I say, any advice you want from me, any advice you want to give me. Look, I'm not as good as this game at most of you. So let me know if there's anything I should be looking out for in the final weeks of this Premier League season. Big times coming up for a lot of us. I'm just trying to stay out the curry zone. In my mini league, the bottom 4 people in that mini league have to buy the other 12, 13 people in it a curry. We all go out, you pay for the food and the drink. It's an expensive night out. I'm all right now. I've got my head above water, but there's still a chance I could slip in there. So I'm a little bit worried. So I'm open-minded about where this goes. JP says free hit 34 or 37. Which has a higher upside, do you think? 37 is tricky. I mean, we're getting late in the day there, aren't we? Um, 30. I mean, obviously, it's going to depend what your team's looking right now too. Let me just get to the 37 fixtures. Um, yeah, no Liverpool playing that week. No Man United. No Southampton. Might be worth saving it for that week. I mean, I imagine you've got a few Liverpool players in there. So if you haven't, if you have got Liverpool players, and you're looking at that, and it turns out Liverpool actually are on a blank. People in here will probably know better than me as to whether that's likely to stay the case. Um, Maybe save it for that. Like Liverpool blanking in 37 seems quite significant to me. And we have got against the obvious coming up very quickly before we go to as in between these questions. Yeah, let me know who you think I'm going to say you shouldn't be having this week. Before we get to that, Mohammed says thoughts on Gordon for his double in 36. Really cheap option, 4.6. That is a great shout. It really is a good shout. He is probably the only Everton player worth having. I know Charlison's weighed in with a goal at the week, an important goal, but he missed so many too. Absy says, "Do you think James Silva and Ronaldo are enough with Mo captain?" Um, yeah, I think so. You'll be safe. You'll be fine. I can't give you advice, mate. Top of the CGA league. You don't need my advice. Come on. Nuclear. I want to bring in cash for Game Week 35. Do you think Aston Villa will step up in the next few weeks? I'm not seeing much evidence of it. Bit worried about Aston Villa. What I'll say is that those players have to step it up, or I'm not sure they'll be around next season now. Most of you will know, like my niche in football is the transfer world. Like I deal in, finding out the transfer news and the gossip and what might happen. And 8, 9 of the Aston Villa first team aren't actually safe yet. Like Steven Gerrard's going big this summer. He wants to raise the bar. Some of those Aston Villa players are fighting to save their career, so they need to step things up. I'm worried for them with that Leicester fixture. I don't see them winning it, but they've then got Norwich and Burnley before Liverpool. Yeah, I don't know. I really don't know how Villa's season is ending here, but it's not looking good right now. Let's go to against the obvious next, because I want to quickly run through something which I think most of you will agree with. But if not, you let me know. Okay, so yeah, I'm going Kevin De Bruyne. I'm saying you don't need Kevin De Bruyne in this game week, and you can avoid him. Briefly went through this earlier in the show. Like Watford are Man City's opponents this week at the Etihad, and Man City are perfectly capable of beating Watford without Kevin De Bruyne. I really am not convinced that this man starts the game. He might not feature at all if Man City carry on in the way that they have in the past against Watford. They beat them 6-0 and 8-0 the last times they met them at home. Man City are now better than they were back then. Watford might be worse. And if that's the case, if Man City are 3-0 up at half time, as I say, I'm not sure we'll be seeing Kevin De Bruyne at all. Now, obviously, a few of you have got De Bruyne. You're probably keeping in your team and hope he does play. But bear in mind, the Champions League game's coming up, tougher matches in the Premier League. De Bruyne, if they're struggling, can come off the bench and make the difference. If not, though, if he's not needed, Pep won't use him. FPL Gaz is already agreeing with me here. No KDB. Rested. I think this is one to watch out for, everyone. There you go. There you go. A little bit less risky, I think, than Gianni last week saying Mo Salah, you don't need him. You did need him. He got 34 points if you had him as captain. Mohammed says KDB looking like he's back to his best, but not an FP option for me right now. And that's the thing. Kevin De Bruyne is back to his best. This is the stage of the season when you do want Kevin De Bruyne. This is the stage of the season when he decides matches. He's going to just he might decide the title race, Kevin De Bruyne. But for 1 week, Man City versus Watford is not needed. Man City do not need to play Kevin De Bruyne this weekend. And I think that with the way that Man City have been managing him, there's a high chance he doesn't play. James says, bit random, but as a Leeds fan, have you any transfer news for the summer? Heard we were linked with Ian Nacho, but not sure if there's anything in it. Look, Leeds are a lot more optimistic now than they were a month or so back. I've spoken to a couple of people there about their plans, and they're really going to try to be as ambitious as possible. They got more money coming in from the 49ers group to the back end of this year. And as a result of that, they feel that a lot more strength in depth is needed. And the thing with Jesse Marsch is a lot more open-minded than Marcelo Bielsa was about bringing in new faces and taking a risk on some players. Iheanacho, maybe. I'm not sure. They're definitely going to bring in another striker, though, because Patrick Bamford, obviously we've seen, needs support. I think, from what I'm told, they're going to sign someone with Premier League experience because we've seen with Rodrigo that it's a bit of a gamble. Rodrigo's a good player, but just hasn't really got going. And they FPL Gather says they'll have the Rafinha money to spend, and that might be true. Good news for Leeds, though. It sounds like Calvin Phillips still weighing up a new contract before he decides on leaving. I think he might yet stay. Nuclear Atom says, I saw on Twitter today that Jesus has agreed terms with Arsenal. Any truth to that? Then, mate, I've been at Windsor Castle today with my kids, so I haven't seen that exact rumour. I'll look into it. Not the last I'd heard, that wasn't the case. I'm going to quickly type it in now just to see if I can find out who wrote the story, because that, at least from my point of view, would give me an idea. I can see, from what I can see, it's a foreign journalist. Yeah, in very advanced talks with Arsenal. I personally haven't heard that. I'll check it out for you, I promise. On Monday, I'll give you an answer. FPL Gather, keep your eye on Newcastle transfer business this summer, Dean. Mate, it's true. And like a lot of the time, you head into a transfer window and you think, yeah, they're going to spend £150 million. They're going to go after the best players and blah, blah, blah. And then they don't do it. With Newcastle, they're going to do it. They are going to go and push the boat out here. January, the business went absolutely to plan. All the signings have paid off pretty much. Newcastle are going to have a big summer. It's going to be very, very exciting. I can tell the fans are excited just from the way they celebrated that Bruno winner the other day. Joala, hello, mate. He says, which one is better, selling Son to Havertz and Weghorst to Werner, okay, or Son to Havertz and Doherty to Alonso? I think the Weghorst to Werner one, mate. I think that's the way to go. Weghorst is looking okay. I think he's a good player, but I think right now, I'd be on Werner. I think that's the way to go. I've personally done that. We've heard of people in the chat actually captaining Werner this week. I'd get on that one. Simple chess indeed. Haven't seen you around here, mate. Hello. Says Liverpool play midweek, so don't you reckon he won't play versus easy Everton? Are we talking about Mo Salah here? I presume so. I think Mo Salah will play if that's the question that we're asking here. I just don't see a situation where he's left out. Declan Rice leaving West Ham this summer. West Ham is still saying only if someone pays £150 million. Still trying to get him to sign a new contract. Personally, I don't think they can afford the sort of contract that Declan Rice wants right now. It would massively exceed anything they've ever paid before. 200 grand, more than that, maybe even. That's what he's going to be offered elsewhere. I don't see Declan Rice signing a new contract, getting himself into a Harry Kane-like situation whereby Kane got stuck because he signed a new long-term contract he didn't really need. Declan Rice is not going to do the same thing. Be surprised if West Ham willingly sold him, but obviously teams are going to try and sign him. FPL River, how sure are we that Haaland is going to City? We're pretty sure at this point. We are pretty sure that Haaland is going to be Man City's number 9 for next season. Look, can you imagine the first week of next season, if Haaland's an FPL player, I'm pretty sure every single one of us will have him. The only thing that I'll be a little bit worried about with Haaland is his injury record. He has missed a lot of games for Borussia Dortmund, particularly this season. A couple of them have been muscle ones too, which slightly concerns me. Look, he's a strong lad. He's powerful and determined, but let's see how he gets on when he comes to the Premier League. He's desperate to do it, and he's desperate to prove everybody wrong. So let's see what happens. Nuclear says, do you know any info about what players are on the list of Ten Hag? At the start of the show, Nuclear, we did the fresh off the press section. We went through a few of the signings that Ten Hag might make. I'll just list them off quickly. Pau Torres, Ibrahima Sengare, and Darwin Núñez. There they are. They are 3 of the people that he's looking for. That will go straight through the heart of this Man United team. And to be honest, it would have a massive impact on helping them fix it. You've heard Ralph Rangnick talk about United needs 7 to 10 players. I mean, for a player of Man United, like a club like Man United, to sign 10 players is pretty much unheard of. I personally don't see it happening, but they are going to go strong in the transfer window because they have to. Joala says, which team do you support in the Premier League? Well, Earlier this week, I didn't support a Premier League team, but by Tuesday night, I did support a Premier League team because my team Fulham were promoted from the Championship. So I was on the pitch and then in the pub celebrating that. It was a great night. Tiffany says, "Please bring us up to speed on who to look out for Fulham next season. Looking forward to familiarising myself with the club." Look, I'll give you more Fulham news than you ever knew you wanted. We'll have loads of it next season. It's going to be interesting. Fulham are actually going to go after some big players in the transfer market. One that they're actually looking after at right now is Milinkovic Savic. Um, really interesting midfield player, somebody that's been coveted by some really big clubs in the Premier League. He's a pal of Mitrovic. They play together for Serbia. As I understand it, Mitrovic is in his ear a little bit about this one. So that would be amazing if we could get players of that pedigree coming to Fulham. Let's wrap that back around in the summer and we'll see where we're actually at. Nuclear says, where do you think Pogba will end up? I don't know what I can think of his PSG. I don't want him Real Madrid. I think he's going to Juventus, to be honest. Somebody I spoke to a couple of weeks ago seemed pretty confident that would be Pogba's landing spot. Sounds like Pogba's season might be over, and that means his Man United career is probably over. We might have seen Pogba for the last time in the Premier League, and for the last time, I had to consider whether we ever wanted him in our FPL team again. There aren't many times I've had Pogba, I've got to say. Been very unconvincing in recent times. But yeah, let's see what happens with Pogba. I think Juve. We're going to get 3 more questions in before I call it a night. I think my voice might go soon. Desire, your prediction for City versus Madrid. Oh my goodness. So I do a podcast called Ranks FC. Go and have a listen if you get a chance. This week, we ranked the final 4 of the Champions League, the final 4 of the Europa League, and the final 4 of the Europa Conference League. I have put in my rankings Liverpool 1, and I've gone Madrid 2 ahead of Man City. And the reason I've done that is I just obviously like if you put these teams out on their best day, if City play their best and Madrid play their best, Man City win, and I totally accept that. But that's not how football works. That's not always the way that games are decided. And we've seen Madrid's mentality this season to get through PSG, to get through Chelsea. Anyone that saw Madrid last weekend against Sevilla in La Liga, they were 2-0 down at half time. They turned around the game again in the second half. Unbelievable. They won 3-2. That's what they have over Man City. Man City, I think, doubt themselves a little bit. Real Madrid never ever doubt themselves, even when they are technically not as good as the other team at times, even when they're underperforming, they have something different. And while Pep Guardiola sometimes overthinks, Ancelotti is the coolest man in the building and comes up with big solutions. It's going to be an absolutely fascinating Champions League tie. I've just got this sneaky feeling ends up being a Liverpool Madrid final. Just got a feeling. Nuclear says Savic from Lazio. Yes, that's the one, mate. That is who I'm talking about. Abzi says, how can I follow you on Twitter so I know everything about Fulham next season? You can follow me on Twitter, Dean Jones Soccer. It's Dean Jones Soccer because Dean Jones Football was taken after I left Bleacher Report. So I wouldn't normally choose that, but I didn't have much choice. Desire says, do you think Fulham will make Nico Williams permanent? This is turned into a Fulham podcast. We won't be allowed, I don't think, to make that one permanent. He's too good, and Liverpool won't want to let him go. But they are signing Fabio Carvalho, who we'll talk about next season. I think we'll have him on loan again, personally. I think that's about as good as we'll get. Really tough question here. By the way, the next one's going to be the comment of the stream, and this one from FPL River. Everton or Burnley going down? I don't know. I don't know. Do you know what? I want it to be Everton from a selfish point of view because Fulham coming up, Fulham never beat Everton away. And we can beat Burnley away. So I still want Burnley to be in the Premier League because I think if Everton stay up, Everton can't be this bad again next season. They'll probably get rid of Frank Lampard and they'll probably get somebody else in. Maybe even Wayne Rooney. He's going to be he might be changing clubs. So Everton, I think, will have a big uplift. That would affect Fulham. So I want Burnley to stay up. Not sure how many people will agree with that, but we'll see. Yeah, let's see how that goes. Like and subscribe, everyone. There's 43 of you in here. If you could all give us a like, that massively help us grow. I promise you, there's not going to be a time in the near future when it's just going to be me on this chat. There'll always be someone, usually Gianni. Sometimes we might get in Becky or Jules or Kelly to just join us in. Probably going to mix it up a little bit too at times just to get another voice in as well and just to offer some alternative options. Punter says, saw Gianni making Havertz captain. I'm so tempted to do the same, or shall I stick with Salah? Look, Gianni is the FPL insider. I'm the transfer insider. I don't know. I don't budge. I'm not budging from Mo Salah for the rest of the season. Go with Havertz if you like. He's obviously got 2 games. He might score in both. Go for it. I see Man City side Julian Alvarez, a striker, White Haaland as well. Julian Alvarez is a player that they're signing for the future. They don't see him as somebody that's going to immediately impact on their first team heavily. So don't worry about them for now. He could be amazing in a couple of years. But yeah, don't expect him to be making a big impact next season, especially if Haaland is in town. We're going to be calling it a day now. Look, thanks to everyone for getting involved and helping me through this tonight. I've loved it, to be honest. It's been 52 minutes of me talking non-stop. Not sure I've ever done that in my life. Gianni who? That is the comment of the stream of the stream tonight. Thank you, FPL River. It means I've done a half-decent job. I am pleased, though, that Gianni is coming back for Monday's show. It'll be here. We'll be going through everything that happened in Game Week 34, starting to look ahead to the future. And we're all starting to get an idea now of actually what our rank is going to be for the season. So I'm going to be asking you guys over how happy you are about where you are actually finishing this season. Thanks again for all of you for getting involved tonight. We've been chasing green arrows. I'll see you on Monday.